weekly contributor meeting. Today is Wednesday, May 21st. On our agenda, we have a short agenda today, but I'm hoping if anyone has any walk-on topic, we can definitely have time to cover it. First, without further ado, I will pass it to Dave to provide the leadership updates.
All right, thank you, Yolanda. That's the wrong one. Oops, that is the wrong one. Too many presentations. There we go. All right. Use cases, the gray line marches to the right. No major changes here in the timelines. So we are in the process of getting personal function engagement STU2 published. We are just, are starting on the ballot reconciliation for transitions of care, and there's been some triaging going on there, and then we're also preparing for advanced directives STU2 to go into ballot in September. So those are the major activities that are going on. The other, kind of the big news is that, we've been waiting for standardized medication profile to be published. We finished actually all the work that we needed to do, back in January. But there's been a number of issues, in getting it actually published. Not, not that nothing that really that we've been doing. But it was finally published at the end of last week. So yay. So we got that done officially now. So it's available and people can play around with it and so forth. So that's great. Whoops. Just a reminder of the upcoming conferences. There's a poster at the EMEA conference in Anaheim as we speak. There's the HL7 WEDI topic, the presentation that's coming up. We've got the CMS Connectathon, and so registration is open for that. And then we have
So Dave, we cannot see your share.
Okay, I will try to share again. Sorry about that. Just get that going.
At the same time, I can share the photo Wuba shared with Amia.
Oh, okay.
PACIO poster. It's lonely standing there, but hopefully we can get some feedback and to the PACIO group.
Okay, can you see
It is there.
Can you see my screen now? Yes?
Can you guys see Dave's screen? I'm sharing. I can stop sharing.
Okay, I didn't see your screen, so I can. Has
Oh.
everyone seen the picture that Yolanda was sharing? I don't see it. So if you want to share that quickly.
Sure, yeah.
I was able to see it.
I saw that I shared.
Okay, yep, I can see it now.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Cool. Well, we're there. So that's great to have that there. All right. Apologies for the technical difficulties. And then there's, as I mentioned, there's the Connectathon. You can register on that for that, and I urge you to do so. We'll talk about that tomorrow during the tech team call. And then there's the EMEA conference and the NCQA conference that are happening almost at the same time that we've also submitted abstracts for and will be, and have been accepted. So that's great. And then we have the CMS Connectathon planning. And again, this is a great opportunity on, even more so than for HL7 Connectathons, but this is, it's very much focused on CMS. And so this is a great opportunity to demonstrate what we've been up to. So that would be great. And then we've submitted the track proposals and we're going through the scenario story, which is frozen last Friday. So we have updated the track proposals so you can see the latest story and how it results for each of the track proposals to check that out. And so if you are interested in participating in the CMS Connectathon, we would love to have you. And so just, please attend the Thursday call. And we'll be happy to fill you in on what's happening. So again, the Connectathon is July 15th through 17th. It's free, no charge. The registration is open. It closes on June 30th. You can click that link to get access to the Connectathon. It's a 3-day event. The first day will be presentations on policy and technology. Excuse me. So if you wanted to find out all the latest and greatest that's happening at CMS, you can do so on that first day. The big day for us will be day 2, testing and demos. And then another thing that's really cool, I think, about the CMS Connectathon is we have track highlight presentations. So as opposed to just filling out a Google Doc that may never be ever seen again, we're actually presenting. And so that's a great way to let people know what we're doing, and also is a great opportunity for us to find out what other folks are doing in the room. So that's great. The PACIO tracks, as I mentioned, there are 2 of them. Transitions of care will be in the morning from 9 to 1. That includes some elements of personal functioning engagement and standardized medication profile. And then we will have the Advanced Healthcare Directive Interoperability track in the afternoon from 1:30 to 5:30. And each of those tracks will essentially follow a similar schedule. Well, the first hour will be a kickoff and overview. The second hour will really be testing, just to kind of make sure everything is sort of working together. We'll have to do, all of our debugging and stuff really before we get to the Connectathon. The third hour will be the demo itself, and the fourth hour will be a question and answer session. So, and then we'll try to squeeze lunch in between. So that's kind of the schedule that we're looking to adopt. So the idea is transitions of care would go first to sort of tee up the entire scenario, and then that would tee up also the advanced directive piece, which we would dive into more detail in the afternoon. So the scenario we've come up with is, really for both tracks together. And so we've divided those appropriate elements in each of the tracks. And really, we hope that this provides some continuity to show how the 2 tracks work together. So we have participant commitment and a frozen scenario, which on May 16th. And now we are focused on the sample data development. So we hope to have a complete draft there on June 5th. Hope to have that really frozen up by June 19th, I'm sorry. Then a demo run just before the July 4th holiday on June 26th, and another one right after on June 10th. And then there's the Connectathon. So that's the schedule that we're sort of marching towards. Any questions? All right. With that, I will pass it back to Yolanda.
Thank you, Dave. So next section of our agenda is the subgroup updates. I don't see Jamar is here.
Yeah, I'll be reporting out on behalf of
Okay, yeah.
of Jamar. Yeah,
Go ahead,
so
Uba.
yeah, so I'm going to report out about the PFE weekly meeting that happened earlier today. What we did is we came up with ideas for assessments that PT, OT, and SLP would do for in the scenario for the Connectathon. And so the work that we did today focused mostly on what assessments would happen during the SNF stay in scene 2 for Betsy, and what will happen next is that the insights that were given from the community earlier today will be translated into specific items that will be turned into sample data. So it's very exciting. The rubber is hitting the road for the Connectathon and sample data creation, and we'll likely continue that work next week. Yeah, that's it from us.
All right. Thank you very much, Uba, for providing the updates from the PFE subgroup. Next, we'll have James and Terry provide the update from the TOC subgroup.
Go ahead, James.
Once I share my content, the controls disappear and mute was unavailable there for a second. But just wanted to update everybody on our ongoing efforts. We had our monthly meeting early in the month, so this is just the things that have been going on since then. Little updates on the TOC IG balloting. We do have those existing tickets from the ballot process open. May has been able to go through. May is going to be helping support some of our technical work going forward on the IG. Has resolved one of them. There are several others that are just minor things that we're going to try and close out relatively quickly. And then we've also created one new one so we can track changes that happen to the IG after the balloting process started. So that'll the one that's been opened is really focused on making sure we include the non-del elements and have some traceability for that. So those efforts are ongoing. The note on the non-del elements is we've been working to kind of take the collection of them and make them categorized and a little bit more logical order groupings. So we've got that, and we're going to be including that in our reviews as we move into the work with the behavioral health folks if we're able to get together a substantial set of folks to do that. But the patient partners and patient caregiver or the caregivers is probably the more likely group that will be utilizing that as they go through and do their reviews. For the TOC Connectathon planning, as Dave noted, I won't go too far into this, but the scenario is frozen. We've gotten a good list of things that should show how data is being transferred during multiple transitions across those different scenarios. But really, we're starting to work on pulling out the clinical details of the scenario to make sure that we're able to create the correct sample data. So that's where the efforts are at this time. And some of the folks that are participating will be sending out an email to get your feedback on that as we go through and work on that effort too. So that'll be coming out shortly. And then the last thing for TOC specifically was our ongoing work in engaging with partners, patients, and caregivers in our outreach. We had a recommendation to reach out to a couple of organizations that have been stood up to help connect patients and caregivers back into organizations like PACIO and other folks that are trying to engage patients. So we're going through that process to understand what their capabilities are and how PACIO could properly do that in the context of the contract that MITRE has. So that's an ongoing effort, but I think we're close to having enough folks to get started. So we've been sending out some of the material related to that and getting the patient and caregivers prepped to start moving forward. Did you have anything else to add, Terry? I think I covered most of it.
No, that sounds good. And yeah, we are making progress. I think the important thing to remember, I think this is probably going to be the most complex data set that we've tried to build because it's going to extend well beyond the clinical issues, which all of the disciplines are quite well versed in. So we'll see where it goes.
I did want to prompt you. I can talk about it or you can, but the engagement you've had with the professional society and the prospects of maintenance going forward.
This is all very preliminary, and Dave and I are going to discuss this afterwards. So, one of the issues that we need to resolve is sort of long-term sustainability of these data sets. And to do that, I believe we need to have a steward. And a steward is an organization that's responsible for maintaining the integrity of the data set, making sure that it's up to date, that it's applicable to the group for which they're maintaining it. And they are responsible for adding and deleting elements and making sure that it's part of standards going forward. So it's a big job, big work. And along those lines, I had an initial conversation with AMDA, the American Medical Directors Association, which is now known as post-acute and long-term medicine. So Pelt Med. They were enthusiastic about the idea of them being the stewards of the data set because, as it turns out, that the entire work group, the MDNP PA work group, was made up of AMDA members. So it's basically their data set anyway. So they thought that made perfect sense for them to be in charge of the clinical content of it, but they were very leery of having anything to do with maintaining standards, just because it's not a skill set that they have. It's one that MITRE has, but that AMDA doesn't. So I think the discussion with them will be, is there a hybrid model where the professional society maintains the integrity of the data and some other organization maintains the standard? So that's where we're at. But it was a good start.
And I think that wraps it up for the transitions of care group. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, James and Terry, for providing the updates from the TOC subgroup. Next up, we have updates from the ADI subgroup. Maria has a conflict. I will cover the report out, and Dave, feel free to chime in to any additional discussion. So the ADI subgroup met this early before this meeting, and first Dave went over the July Connexon CMS Connexon scenario, as just he did is in his leadership updates, and it's emphasized the tracks for ADI, and the group seek their feedback from the community, and one community member from the NIH brought up the patient reported outcome score, which is a great point, and we probably will include it in the future scenario for the Connexon, but probably not this time. And in general, the community agreed this is a great scenario and covers a lot of ground. Secondly, the group went over the environmental scan, which the subgroup has been working really hard. The ADI team has concluded its review of the scan. It covers multiple concepts related to the document system, goal of the care, mental health, advanced directive, and the patient instruments, practitioner, PMOs, and the provider instruction provenance. All the different sections to cover different additional information, like the original document, if the patient already have the advanced directive, and whether it's conflict or consistent with the PMO, and the various patient scenario. And the team is still seeking to leverage the work which already being done by the EHR and the patient care work group related to the how to represent the supervising MD signature for oversight for the PA and NP in states where it is required. So there are still a couple of issues that the group is trying to resolve, but overall, the environment scan for the September Connexon is concluded. On the front of the mental health advanced directive, and the team is seeking the voice of the behavioral health patient, and including peer specialists and the practitioner to provide impactful insights on the group. So one of the members brought up the National Post community upcoming events and requested ADI community with a PACIO team to provide the one pager or something like the infographic about the work the ADI and the PACIO group has been working on, and hopefully get the awareness of the ADI work and also the PACIO community, all the different standards we developed here. Dave, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, I think that covers all the items on the agenda. Are there any what topics we want to talk, or do we have questions about the Connexon in general? I really appreciate all the community, different PACIO subgroups, community member contribution to the story development and clinical standpoints, and make the scenario real and also relevant to the standards we develop and what we are trying to test. And tomorrow and during our tech meeting call, we'll continue to finalize. Although the story is frozen, and we are trying to, for example, in the PFE subgroup, we are trying to get the clinicians' input on the real assessment. What kind of assessment is more doable for this Connexon testing, and everyone had provided very invaluable insights to their development, the stories, and the scenario. And the next step, the tech team is incorporate all the inputs from the community and the storyline, and we're trying to convert it to the sample data, which is going to be exchanged during the testing.
Yeah, related to that, the PFE community this morning had a question for all of you and about one of the items that we were talking about, specifically putting together a nutrition order, and what the PFE community was wondering from all of you is, based on your experience, how are modified diets ordered, and like what like coding systems or standards do you use? And just to give an example, this is one of the I'm going to put it in the chat. One of the standards that we talked about, this one specifically is maybe not as widely used, but is trying to be promoted. But there's other ways that folks also the other standards that folks use. Joanne, I see your hands up.
Yeah, just to explain a little bit further,
Yeah.
historically there has been a tradition, if you will, of certain types of diet levels used in post-acute settings that we used to call regular diet, mechanical soft, what they would be labeled, and how the kitchens would be able to accommodate that as the facilities, and it was at the facility discretion. In recent years, there has become more of a standard diet level progression for both solids and liquids. This has been endorsed by the ADA as well as the ASHA, the American Speech Language Hearing Association. That said, the ITSE framework, from our perspective, may not be as widely used at this time as it is in certain pockets of the country. And before we move forward in trying to establish how diets would be recognized in the medical record and captured and recommended, we were just curious as to how widespread the ITSE framework is, or do we need to look at it from a perspective of ITSE is still in transition and we have to accommodate the traditional way of recording diet levels, especially those with modified diets for whatever reason. Does that help, Uba?
Yes, thank you so much. So does anybody have any thoughts or experiences about this at all based on your practice?
I think we're back to I don't know, Uba.
I guess so. Yeah.
Don't be shy if you have an opinion.
All right, so we'll have to figure a way around that one. So,
Okay, well,
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I'll pass it over to you, Yolanda.
Yeah.
And if anybody does have any ideas, feel free to send me an email, but no, I'll pass it on to you, Yolanda.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's something like when we started to look at the real scenarios as questions. Once we get this question, we start to think more. That's the whole point about the real scenario testing during the Connect. So, all right. Any other walk-on topics? Here none. And thank you all for joining us today. And special thanks to the speakers for providing the updates and the other insightful discussion from you. And we really appreciate all the work contribution from the community. With that said, I think I will I wish you all have a great long weekend and enjoy the family time. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.